Avenue, I see that it could be fixed or it could be corrected. It's the government, the local government need to stand up and go out there and say, look, we will not allow alcohol into our village. They need to stand up. They need to make an ordinance. We authorize the cops to go out to the airport and check people for alcohol. So I think our local government need to stand up and take care of this issue. Otherwise it's going to continue. We can have more community activities, more gatherings, more visiting amongst each other.
To me, it just seemed to be an issue of parental guidance, and for the parents, not necessarily the elders, but the parents to learn from the elders, to go back with the kids to learn from the elders. How did they stay safe? How did they stay focused on day-to-day life and what was important to them? And it seemed to be family and community was their basis for life. That was basically how they perceive life, is taking care of self, family, and community. I honestly think getting back to the culture or getting back involved in cultural things will play a big effect.
You could use your friendship and your family.
My kid, he's 19 now, he's out of school, he doesn't drink or nothing.
If there's no change in the local governments, the people speaking out, or you as young people speak out, go to the meetings and say, we're tired of this, what can we do to help? There's many ways that we can correct this problem.
No.
All of that, it just makes them look ridiculous, and yeah.
I mean, I'm totally against drinking, you know. I mean, we're totally against drinking.
Yeah.
Both of us. When we're not posting our time here, we're out there telling those people, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
It's not right. We won't stand for this.
We hate it. Hate it. Look at me. Hate it.
I am asking the interviewers, I want to tell them a little story about something that happened to me. I want to point the finger back at me. They're asking about drugs and alcohol in the community. I have to be the first to admit that I was a main factor in that at one time, before I gave my life to Christ. And this is a little story, I don't know if these girls have heard it, but it's something that opened my eyes. About maybe 15, 16 years ago, I was a drug dealer. I sold drugs, I smoked drugs, and was just totally unaware of anything around me. I was more concerned about me. I have two daughters. At the time, they probably was about 9 and 10 years old. And one day I had sent them off to school and was getting ready to go to work. And I got a phone call. And somebody said, well, I guess you must be rich. Your daughters are up here giving $50 bills and $100 bills away. Mind you now that this money is all drug money. Of course, I went to look for my money, and the money was gone. I ran up to the school. My daughters had a line all the way down the hallway, people collecting 50s and 100s. Of course, I came up yelling and screaming, all upset and angry, took the money away, and yelled at these two little girls, looked down at these two little girls with these beautiful brown eyes, yelling and screaming and being excited. And they never once said anything. They let me yell and scream. Once I calmed down, they said this to me and it woke me up. Dad, if it wasn't for that money, you wouldn't have even noticed us. At that time I realized that I had provided the basics, the home, the clothes, all the different types of material things that you can buy with money. But I hadn't given my kids what they wanted most, time with me. I thought about that for days. It resonated in me. And I began to look back at the times that they had came to me when I was smoking, and I didn't want them around, so I pushed them away. And all they wanted was a little time with Dad, to sit on Dad's lap, to say, "Hi Dad, how you doing?" or just get a hug or a kiss. And I was so wrapped up in me that I didn't pay them any attention. And this must have went on for another 6 months of me fighting the inevitable of realizing that I wasn't such a good parent. Matter of fact, I was a horrible parent. I wasn't there for my kids. I didn't give them what they needed most, which was plain and simple love. I think that's where we're all failing as parents, that not just the other parents out there, but myself included, that we have a responsibility to our children when we bring them into this world to give our life to them, devote ourselves to them and their upbringing and education and growing. And when we don't do that, we lose sight of it. And I had been asked at one time, how could you not see that? Because when you're involved in drugs and alcohol, or you're absorbed with yourself, just in yourself, you don't notice these things. And years after I stopped and started working at the youth center, one night I remember, I think we had like 63 kids in this youth center. And we were having a good time, and I just asked the question, how many of you guys would give up all of your games and your material things just for time with Mom and Dad? And almost every hand in the building went up, followed by crying and sobbing. And at that moment I knew what the children were lacking most was just simple love from their parents. And I want to let all the parents out there know, talk to your kids, spend time with them. It's important. We all think we know our children. We don't know our children. I suggest that you go and find your child wherever they be playing and just watch them, get to know your children, because you will see a different child when you're not there, when they don't know you're there. And it's a good thing because you find them, you find out how they are. Talk to their friends, see their innermost thoughts, because kids will not tell you what they truly believe or what they truly think or what truly hurts them, especially if it's you. So you need to search in your heart and look back at yourself to find out if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing or that is affecting your child. And remember, children are tender and they see things quite differently than adults. So this is my advice to you. I hope you listen. It took me years to learn. It was a hurting and humbling process. I thank God for giving me the strength and the understanding to see this. And I hope He's made me a better parent now. And all the kids in Point Hope, they all know that I love them. They're all my kids. And I try to be there for each one of them. So if you see a kid, stop, take a second. Don't ask him how he's doing and pass by. Stop and visit a second and just, how are you really doing? See, show them a little love and see what you get back in return. Thank you.